Thank you very much and good morning to the viewers. Well, I can tell you that Magistrate Abel Mpahlele actually went back to the testimony of the investigating officer and also to the affidavits that were handed down by the accused in mitigation of them actually being granted bail. Well, in terms of their affidavit, they were actually saying that they are going to lose their livelihoods and their children will not be well taken care of if Karel, David Prinsloo and Johannes Stassen were actually going to be apprehended beyond the time of them actually being granted bail. But we heard earlier on that the investigating officer had said that there was evidence that there was some tampering of evidence, and in fact there were some witnesses that were not willing to testify as they felt that these guys are members of a very dangerous gang that is called the Chosen Soldiers Pretoria chapter, of which there's been some reports where they've been saying that they have been patrolling the Pretoria North area and allegedly targeting black people if they would actually find them there in the wee hours of the night or in the morning. But I'm actually joined now by one of the family spokesperson for Tato Lipinka, who's going to elaborate a bit further his reaction regarding what transpired in court. If you can just explain to us what is your reaction to the judgment that has just been handed down with the two accused being granted bail of 8,000 rand each?
No, thanks. The reaction from the family is great disappointment. The family is extremely disappointed that the racist pair has been granted bail, irrespective of the evidence that has been led by the investigating officer against them. So that's where the family is standing. But on the side of Sanko, we are actually not that disappointment. I think Ntate Mpahlele, the magistrate, it was clear from last week when he refused that we do a peaceful demonstration that indeed he wanted to assist this racist to get bail, because even in his argument there are people who are afraid to testify when they are behind bars. Now he's releasing these two to go and harass those people who are already afraid. So it does not augur well for justice. The president has already spoken against racism, but it's clear that the judiciary is not willing to come on board to help the country fight this scourge of racism.
Yes, and the lawyer for the two accused was actually saying that, there is this tradition of when there's a conflict between a white and a black, we automatically label it as racist. And he was saying that maybe, we should look at the merits of the matter. These guys were at a bar and they were drunk, and then this could have been just a bar fight. Why does it have to end up being labeled as a race conflict?
No. I think the lawyer is mistaken. There's no other way of describing this thing except to say it's racism. Because at the bar, this was not the only young person there. There were other young people who were white. They were not attacked. This one was attacked, but what is worse is that the young man is ahead screaming and pleading that he has not done anything wrong to deserve this thing. So from where we are sitting, the only common denominator in this thing is race. Is that they have attacked this young man because he's African, and there's no other excuse that must be made. It's unfortunate that those arguments are being made in favor of this racist, but we must just call out racism what it is and not call it something else.
And your reaction to reports that the duo are members of a Pretoria gang that's terrorizing the community in that particular area, hence the argument by the prosecution to say that these guys should not be released as they are capable of intimidating witnesses?
No, our reaction is that that gang, as we're speaking, is being empowered because they have done something that is horribly wrong, and now some of their members are released on bail. So I'm sure by tonight they will be regrouping. I will not be surprised if by tomorrow or by this coming weekend there's another incident of an African who's been attacked by this racist gang calling themselves what bikers.
But then as a community yourself, apparently that's been traumatized by this gang, is there going to be any initiative, to ensure that people feel safe, especially when working in the suburbs of Pretoria North, of which they're saying the gang is apparently raiding that particular area allegedly?
Well, as a community we try to work with the police, to try and work with the CPF. But one thing that must not become a culture is that as Africans we must not find ourselves always being afraid of this one race of a minority. At some point, I think Africans must respond differently. I think it's in our history that was said that we cannot continuously respond peacefully when we are being attacked. At some point, we just have to attack back because we are being attacked, and from time to time we expected that we must act in a civil manner when this ruthless racists are behaving in such a way that they are behaving.
Don't you believe that there should be some sort of a legislation that would have punitive measures that would be a deterrent for racists not to act in that particular manner? What's your response to that assertion?
No, in fact, our conviction is that there must be actual charges that are made against racist and racism. The criminal jury seems to be hiding some of this racism. So the judiciary must be able to develop charges that are clear, that when a person has been racist against another person, there's a clear charge that is laid against that person, and the sentence also must be heavy such that we discourage this nonsense that has been happening for the last 30 years almost of our democracy.
Thank you very much. Well, as you heard, that's Kutso, who's actually representing Tato Lipinka's family, actually saying that, there should be specific charges that are targeted at those that are acting in racist manner. And with that, it's back to studio.